This is the Daily Bread Bible Study for day 172, Saturday, June 20th, 2020, focusing on Psalms 89 through 94. Now, Psalm 89 is a maskil of Ethan, the Ezraite. I selected verse 44 of this long psalm that says, "You have removed the scepter from his hand and hurled his throne into the ground." Now, all of this, says about the line of David, right? And it seems like the promised line of David is threatened. Could this possibly be by the Babylonian exile? As I mentioned, in 587 BC, we have Babylon come in and sack Jerusalem, and it takes away the leaders there from that community. And so that is the question there in Psalm 89, wondering if God's promises will stay true. In Book 4, the fourth collection of Psalms, we enter into Psalm 90, which is a prayer of Moses. In verse 12, it says, "So teach us to count our days that we may gain a wise heart." Moses is reflecting on the brevity of human life, and he hopes for a balance of gladness with the days of affliction. So, my question for you is, how do you define a good life? Is the absence of suffering a good life? Is the presence of joy a good life? Is a balanced mixture between the two what constitutes a good life? Is a long number of days what a good life means to you? I think there's many ways we can answer that question, but this psalm is a great one to mull over if you're contemplating the purpose of life or meaning or any of those related concepts there with how we conceptualize our own lives. In Psalm 91, we have verse 11 and 12, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." Now this is actually a quotation that we have from the New Testament, and it's referenced here by Satan as he is tempting Jesus in the wilderness. It's one of his three temptations. See, Jesus responds to him by saying, man does not live by bread alone, right? Quoting a piece of scripture as well there too. And so Satan responds by quoting this scripture back to Jesus. And, Jesus then continues in his line of pulling from scripture. But Satan is trying to trick Jesus with this, saying that this sense of security and assurance and this sense of God's presence and God's deliverance in Psalm 91 applies to Jesus, and that Jesus should test God. But Jesus then reminds Satan that it is not right to test the Lord your God. In Psalm 92, it's a song for the Sabbath day, and I selected verses 14 and 15 because I think they speak well to it. It says, "In old age they still produce fruit. They are always green and full of sap, showing the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him." Sabbath is a day of rest, a day of appreciating things that we might be too busy to look and observe as we are working. And one of those things upon reflection is, in our society particularly, we devalue those who are old, right? We don't see the elderly as individuals who have wisdom and insight that we can learn. We tend to devalue them and to dismiss, the insights of the older, especially when they become, unable to caregive for themselves in the ways that they would like. God does not equate age with value, and does not, see importance or capacity to doing God's will, be relegated to a particular age. The Bible talks often about even, children in their joy and their their beauty, right? They are expression of God. And the old are also to be revered as well for the wisdom that comes with their experiences and their lives. And our belovedness by God is much more than what we think, do, or produce. It is because God made us and God cares for us each and every day, that God just loves us and gives us this earth to breathe and to watch the rain fall and feel the sun on our faces. So may we remember to value all human life, regardless of age. Psalm 93 is imagery of waters and floods, of reminding us that powerful, the power that images of water can inspire us to. So in verse 4, I selected, more majestic than the thunders of mighty waters, more majestic than the waves of the sea, majestic on high is the Lord. I've seen impressive storms in my day and time, and also, sitting outside under a thunderstorm, hearing the lightning boom close by and seeing the strength that comes with that natural occurrence of a thunderstorm, especially here in Texas. And yet God's powerfulness and his might is far beyond that of the thunderstorm. So that's the imagery that we have here in Psalm 93. It's important to be humbled and remember that God is much more than we can fathom. In Psalm 94, verse 12, it says, happy are those whom you discipline, O Lord, and whom you teach out of your law. Discipline is important. I think discipline is best when it comes from ourselves instead of any external source. And through that self-discipline, we are able to grow, learn, and mature. It's important to remember that we can do anything, right? We are capable of doing many things as humans, and not all of them are beneficial. So here with God's discipline is the idea that God will also help train us to be able to figure out for ourselves between what's right and wrong and ways that we can benefit our life versus bring it down. Moving on to Psalms, that is the rest of our Psalms, for today. I'm excited to move on tomorrow for another list of Psalms, but we will wait till day 173. This was day 172. So thanks for joining me. Look forward to tomorrow.